So tell us more about the webcam and Apple.
Good morning, Tim. Yes, a big issue for Apple. They make their screens very, very fine, and if there's anything that gets in between the screen and the bottom of it, then you could be in trouble. I've done this before. I've had a pencil at the bottom, closed it. Next thing I knew, I've crashed and cracked this screen worth about, the screen's worth a fair bit, but the laptop was worth about $4,000. So Apple has said that if you see the green light, you know that the camera is working. But if you decide to cover it up, even with tape, you are risking some damage. So not only can you crack it if you close it with a cover on it, which a lot of people do these days for privacy, but you also risk leaving residue on the camera itself. And the camera is needed so it can determine the ambient lighting conditions as well. So Apple is very reluctant for people to do it. If you put something like a Post-it on it where it doesn't actually touch the camera itself, that's another thing. But yes, definitely the camera, which you can control in the back end about what apps get access to it. If you don't want Skype to have access to your camera, you just say that in the operating system not to do it. So that's what's happening at the moment, Tim. People are putting their webcam covers on and they're closing their laptops and they're causing damage to the screens. And this is because they're made very, very thin and they're very, very fragile, but they also look great. So there's a bit of an issue there for people who want that privacy, that peace of mind.
Tell us a bit more about the damage that can be caused because, look, as you know, I'm absolutely hopeless when it comes to anything tech. I can hardly turn my mobile on.
Yeah, so the damage can happen anywhere on the screen, and so there's the glass on the screen itself and the LCD panel underneath that really projects the image for you. And so what happens is that you really can't read the screen if the cracks move all over it. So the damage is significant, and depending on what model MacBook Pro or MacBook Air or Mac Air you've got, or MacBook Air, then the level of repair cost is going to go up. Of course, if you've got Apple Care and in warranty, depending on the situation, you might be okay, but generally you have to wear the cost if it's deemed as your fault. So it's a fair amount of damage, and Apple just sort of put this up there on their site. It was discovered by a few geeks, and now everyone's running with it because they're realising it must be an issue with these laptops.
Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook, we see him with tape over his laptop. Does he know something we don't know?
That's pretty famous, wasn't it, Tim? The head of Facebook, he decided to put cover up his mic ports and, of course, his laptop camera, his eyesight camera as well. And, you just don't know, because if a hacker's got control of your system, what's the one reliable bit that you know from the hardware that the camera is on? And it's that green light that you saw a little earlier on. And that green light, Apple says, is intrinsically linked to the camera being on. So even if someone gets control of your camera via hackers, and that's possible, it's been done before, it happens a lot on the Windows side, then the light will go on. So you will know it. But other people are making the point, and probably Zuckerberg as well, is that you don't want the light to go on at all from a hacker. So they want that peace of mind. And I might bring out this laptop. I've shown you this before because this is a good example, because on the Windows side, they're actually making a lot of them with sliding covers. But on the Huawei MateBook Pro, look at that. It flips up. There's a little button that flips up, and there's the camera. Unfortunately, it sort of looks up towards your nose a bit, but you know that the camera is off. So there's a bit of psychology about this, Tim, where people, maybe no one can see you, but it's much better if you just cover it up. But just be really careful if you've got a MacBook, particularly a new one, because you could damage it.
So that's the new webcam you had for us, that one there. What about Canon's impossible camera? Is it real?
Well, it's amazing. It's the EOS R5. I got a chance to play with it the other day, only very quickly, and the main reason for this as being awesome is that it shoots 8K in RAW. Now, technically, that's up there with the movie cameras that are worth $50,000, $100,000, and it also shoots what's known as that beautiful slow-mo. So it's 4K resolution, and it shoots at 100p in Australia or 120p in NTSC language, and I got a chance to play with that. Now, there are some issues with it. There's definitely a heating issue at the moment, and it's not available for sale in the stores until, you can pre-order now, but till later in the month. So we use the pre-order versions. Now, the thing about that is they've got to make sure that they improve over the next few weeks, because we really want to test it to the limits, because you don't want to go to a shoot, then it overheats on you. But other cameras have been like that as well. Shooting with these cameras that are smaller, with big sensors, great quality, means that they're going to heat up. And you can shoot for 20 minutes with 8K. That's what they think they can do. And then you have to give it a rest. But it is a beautiful camera. There's no doubt about it. If they pull it off, it is a game changer. But we just need to see a bit more of the R5 and its other competitors up against it later on this year to see if it's the camera to buy in 2020. But it looks pretty good, Tim.
You got a bit of Maria von Trapp about you today. Oh, like the hills are alive with the sound of music. I'm just looking behind you. I'm just waiting for Captain von Trapp to walk into scene. Tell us about the shot behind you.
Yeah, interesting shot actually. When you're talking about 8K, that shot there was taken by the Samsung S20. So the Canon camera I was talking to you about before is worth about $6,500 without a lens. This thing obviously comes with a lens, and I shot this behind me. So that's a quick still image on the LG 8K television behind me, but that is an 8K image behind me. You're not going to see 8K on this transmission, of course, in Australia, not for some time to come, but that's amazing. You can take it with a phone. So I think Samsung's done a great job with that, because you can take video and just take a still out of it. So this thing is amazing behind me, 8K vision. And Tim, I just thought I'd briefly mention you can actually turn your GoPro into a webcam as well. That's just come through. It only works on a Mac at the moment, but I can tell you it works brilliantly. So I wouldn't be squeezing this between the camera and the laptop lid, because you'd definitely crack it. But it really improves your webcam quality out of sight. So if you've got a Hero 8 Black, download the software and a MacBook, try it out. It works really well.
Get onto your GoPro, bro, as a webcam. Finally, look, you've been at the cutting edge of, everyone started to get a bit tech savvy, and how do we do things differently, because we can't come into studios, blah, 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 blah. Tell us your setup there, because I sort of have a bit of a laugh about the Maroubra bunker, but there you are. You're all there by yourself. You've got the full live view camera set up. Tell us about that before we go.
So I'm using a live view setup which uses multiple mobile signals to improve the upstream bandwidth. And so I get a good upstream bandwidth, and I just connect through the live view app, and it does a great job bringing the signals together. And I have to make a decision on what resolution that is. I'm sending it out as 720 50p to make sure it's smooth. I can do higher resolution, but it might be a bit jerky. So I use a pro camera, something like this, which is the other one I meant to talk about, which is the CX10 by Panasonic. Run and gun if you're a journo or wanting to be a budding journo. This thing's great because it actually has a light on top of it. So if you get in those dark situations, you can pop it out. But this streams as well. So it's a similar camera I've got up there to this, which has audio inputs, professional audio inputs. So I can really do stuff at home. But you know what? If you're really interested, contact me on Twitter or one of my other handles, and I'll help you out. I'm looking to do a video to explain how I can broadcast from home, because to be honest, Tim, I've seen a lot of overseas stuff, big budget, and it's been pretty ordinary. So just with a little bit of effort, you can make things look good. And, you know, this screen behind me, the big 8K LG monster, looks amazing. So, you know, I'm trying to change it up a little bit, you know, I think I'll be back to the tech background next week.
Yeah, the lovely Sound of Music shot. Look, I'll sit around a coffee with you and find out what you mean when you talk about 720p, because it's all a different language to me. But Duro Sen...
720 used to be HD.
OK, all right, we'll work on that. All right, buddy, we haven't even touched on the Roosters. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Tim.